Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I got into the top 10 of the leaderboards here in the Go Battle League using this Diggersby team. It's a really nice team to use. I only got 3 sets in today though because I didn't have any queues after I got 13 and 2 to get to our new season high. We got all the way up into the 3300s, starting in the 3200s, so very high intensity battles and a lot of great battlers here today. I'm actually going to do something a little bit special today though, where I show every single battle that we had. Normally I kind of just go over the highlights, but today I only got 15 battles in, so I figured might as well show them all, show all of the sets here, and see what the journey was here to get to rank 10 in the leaderboard. Let's take a look at what this Diggersby team can do and how strong Diggersby can be in the Open Great League meta. Alright, since this is going to have 15 battles in it, this video might be a little bit longer than normal. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that. We'll see how it goes here today. And in the first game against a Water Gun Lantern lead. This is actually a pretty interesting matchup. Diggersby obviously is a ground type, but Water Gun Lantern can kind of outpace us here to these charge moves, get a lot of fast move pressure against us, and probably survive one Scorching Stance as well. As you can see, we are using the Quick Attack Diggersby here. What that means is we have more fast move pressure against a lot of things, but we do sacrifice a little bit of energy generation. Looks like we did get an attack drop on that first move there, which is a little bit nice. I don't think it really matters at this point though. These water guns are still doing a lot of damage to us. As long as I can get to 3 moves here, at least I can chip it down, make it so our Mantine in the back is not going to have to worry quite as much about this thing. With that said, I think they can farm us all the way down. Even if I get another debuff here, these water guns are shredding through my health. Looks like we actually do get the double debuff. I don't know if that's actually lowering these water gun damages, but it is still shredding through our health. This next Scorching Stance is going to come through. It puts them pretty low into range at this point, where even if they farm me down, I think an aerial ace or even a wing attack down could happen if they happen to align that into our Mantine in the backline. In comes a Lickitung, so obviously they did save a lot of energy on their own Lantern, and hopefully our Lantern here can chip down the Slicky. Once our Diggersby's gone, Lickitung's actually a bit rough for our backline, but luckily Lantern here, it is using Water Gun, but it has a lot of neutral play into this. As long as they shield up the Power Whips, or even if I just call them, I guess right now I'm trying to save shields. I guess that's a good play, right? We have our Mantine in the back. They have a Thunderbolt loaded as well on their Lantern, so I need to save the shield just in case they happen to get to that. Throwing the Surf here on CMP with this Body Slam is going to be great. It means that we get a lot of chip damage against this, hopefully drain them of energy. Maybe I can get a Wing Attack down, but I think that might be a little bit ambitious at this point. Body Slam comes through, we survive it on 1 HP, and I swap to my Mantine. I know energy is likely going to be important in this game, so even if they get to a Body Slam, I don't want to throw my energy just yet. I'm going to let this go. I am also going to have to save my shields, right, for that Thunderbolt that they have on their Lantern, and hopefully we'll have some play here in the backline. In comes a Wigglytuff. Alright, this is a very bad thing to see. Obviously, the Lantern has a lot of energy, so I can't really shield anything here. I need to knock this thing out as soon as possible to make sure I don't take too much fast move pressure here. Another Water Pulse will come through. If I can Wing Attack this down before it gets another Charm off, then I might be able to close out this game with a Mantine sweep. We get one Wing Attack through, get the knockout there. If that Lantern comes back in, they can't get to 2 moves against us, but if that Lickitung comes in, they can get a bit more lick damage. It's going to come down to fast moves. Can they fast move me down before I can reach a move? They throw yet another charge attack here with their Lantern. I know they're not at 2, and I have my Aerial Ace loaded now. I think I can throw this Aerial Ace and then Wing Attack down that Lickitung and take the win here in game number 1. Wing Attacks, or Aerial Ace rather, is going to come through. Wing Attack down, the Lickitung, just barely taking the game there. Very close matchup to our opponent. GG's to them. Alright, next game, Diggersby into a Shadow Dragonite. Alright, this is a very bad lead. We have to keep in mind, we do have Quick Attack, right? Shadow Dragonite is also a very squishy Pokemon. So I'm going to actually stay in here knowing that my Lantern should have some sort of play in the backline. And if they want to throw energy here, I know that Diggersby actually, I think, ends up winning the 2-shield matchup. So just staying in here and doing these quick attacks, doing these fire punches, even though they're not doing a lot of damage, they should do enough at this point to chip it down, to start threatening shields from them. And hopefully I can start setting up my backline for a potential sweep at this point. With that said, sometimes you do see something like a Lantern in the back. A Spark Lantern for a backline is terrible to see. Water Gun Lantern we would have play into, but we would need our Lantern aligned into it, and they get to yet another move here. I know for sure, though, I can survive this as long as it is not a superpower. They go for the Dragon Claw, and I'm going to bank some energy here just in case it is a Spark Lantern in the back. Unfortunately, though, we cannot get the Water Gun down before they get to yet another Dragon Claw here. This is not amazing for us because this is going to do a lot of damage, and what are they going to be able to bring in here? In comes a Regiseal. Alright, well, our Mantine does get to avoid this, but we have to keep in mind if there is a Lantern in the back, this game might just be over strictly through RPS. We get to the Thunderbolt right on CMP against this. If they throw a Zap Cannon, they can possibly debuff us here. I hope they don't go for it. I hope they go for a Focus Blast. It is a little bit cheaper, but I think at this point they're just going to go for Zap Cannon, debuff us as much as possible, and in comes a Water Gun Lantern. Yeah, there's no beating that. At that point, they just one-shot our Mantine with a Thunderbolt, and we take one of our 2 losses here today against that team. Alright, the Clodsire in the lead. Fantastic lead to see, but they safe swap a Shadow for Alligator. We don't actually have a hard answer, right? We're running Water Gun on our Lantern. And we have our Mantine, which is pretty neutral into this, but I don't really have the hard answer here this game. So what I'm going to do, it might be kind of strange, but I'm going to chip it down with a Fire Punch, put it closer into range where I only need to land one move with Mantine, hopefully come out of this matchup with some sort of energy against that Clodsire, and keep switch advantage in my favor. With that said, we have a Lantern, right? And our Lantern is running Water Gun, not Spark. It's going to have a lot more play against their Clodsire than they'd probably like, and now they throw another move. As long as this is not an Ice Beam, I should be able to survive it. Hydro comes through, we survive on basically 1 HP here. Depending on what they come in with, I should have a lot of play into the backline. In comes an Azu, so it looks like this is going to be a bit RPS against our opponent. We can chip this down. Actually, this Aerial Ace, it's not going to do a lot of damage, but it actually does help out our Lantern quite a bit. Puts it closer to range where one Thunderbolt will knock them out without needing to go for like a Surf or any other chip damage. Alright, in comes Lantern. Obviously, if we had Spark, that would be a little bit better. We'd have more fast move pressure, more charge move pressure against this, but Water Gun is still a very solid move, doing a decent amount of damage as well, even though it is resisted here. Play Rough is going to knock us kind of low, but it's not going to be able to two-shot us, right? As long as a catch does not happen here, we are going to win this game. I have to watch for that Clodsire to come in. If Clodsire ever does come in this game, then I have to know that I don't want to stay in that matchup for too long. I'll build up a little bit of extra energy here, because I know my Diggersby is such a bulky Pokemon at this point. I can easily survive these moves, and they are staying, and they're not top lefting yet, so they must think they have some sort of win condition still this game. Luckily, I do shield up that Earthquake, and I have these Scorching Sands. These can debuff. I believe it's a 30% chance every time I throw one of these moves to get that attack drop, and we are going to get the attack drop here on the first move, which, I mean, we don't even need, but we'll take it, right? And at that point, I guess they realize there's not much they can do. GG's to our opponent. Diggersby lead into an Azumarill. All right, terrible lead for us to see, but our backline does have play into this. Obviously, Lantern here with Water Gun is not the best answer, but it's also pretty solid as just a safe swap in general. So we're going to bring in Lantern. Hopefully they don't swap out, and it looks like they're going to chip us down before swapping out to whatever it might be in the back. What is it going to be? The Play Rough comes through, and in comes an Annihilate. All right, so I guess this is kind of all right. We get to avoid this with our Diggersby, but we also know that we'd rather have our Mantine here, and also our Mantine would much rather be against that Azu than our Diggersby. Hopefully our Diggersby has somewhere to go this game. Azu plus this Annihilate already, a little bit rough to see, but we have all this energy here, likely going to take a shield advantage, and hopefully they're going to force to throw energy before we get to our move. Looks like they are going to throw an attack here. If we were running Mud Shot, obviously we'd have a neutral attack against this Annihilate. Oh, but they get a boost. That's actually really annoying for us, because now I'd probably have to shield up a move if they can get to a Shadow Ball here against our Mantine, and it looks like they can. This is really unfortunate. I was actually thinking of coming in with our Diggersby and just absorbing the Night Slashes. Obviously, fast move pressure does come in from that thing, but the charge move pressure from an Annihilate into a Diggersby is almost non-existent as long as they're running Shadow Ball plus Night Slash. But okay, very interesting play by our opponent. They actually came back in with their Azu here. Makes me wonder what their third Pokemon could be at this point. Maybe my Mantine has more play in the backline, and maybe my Diggersby could do something in this game now that it is not against this Azumarill. Aerial Ace is going to come through. We have another one, but it's not going to be quite enough to knock out. I still want to throw it, though, knowing that if I land this move, they're in quick attack range. Maybe I can knock them out with Diggersby later on if I need to. And what are they going to do here? They throw energy. I don't think they can get to a second move with their Azu into my Mantine here, so I think we're in a very good spot. Play Rough does land, but in the back is going to be a Gligar. Alright, this is fantastic. You might expect the ground type here not to have a lot of play into the flyer, but we have to keep in mind, I'm not running Mud Shot. This is going to be very helpful, and they honestly had not seen our fast attack yet, so maybe they were hoping that I was running Mud Shot here, and we do see that we are having so much fast move pressure with our quick attacks. We have our Fire Punches as well. As long as we land a Fire Punch here, there is no way we can lose this game, and we reach these moves so quickly. Fire Punch, it's not the best move, and it's definitely not going to do a lot of damage from a Diggersby into a Gligar, but it's going to do enough at this point to put it into range where I can fast move them down, hopefully use my Diggersby to fast move down the Azu, and I might actually be able to overcome this terrible backline matchup as well, and have our Diggersby not only take out this Gligar, but I could quick attack down the Azu as well at this point. Down goes the Gligar, in comes the Azu, and Diggersby is going to be able to close out this matchup here. They don't let us take it out, they actually top left. GG's to our opponent, overcoming that Azumarill lead. Alright, next game against a Shadow Dragonair. Very awkward lead matchup. Obviously, they do have Aqua Tail, they have Dragon Breath, so the longer this matchup goes, the worse it's going to be for Diggersby. I know I survived one move, though, and I have a lot of fast move pressure with these quick attacks, and I'm going to go for a nasty bait with this Fire Punch. I know they kind of have to shield, right? It's a Dragonair, so I'm really hoping that they do, and they do end up shielding that. Obviously, I can't get a debuff by doing that, but I do get a guaranteed shield, and I survive this move. I know that for a fact, and I can get to the Scorching Sands here to hopefully draw yet another shield from this Dragonair. They could have actually CMP'd me there if they really wanted to take a shield from me, but it looks like they're going for the overfarm for the full farm down here, and now that this thing's down shields, I think my Lantern in the backline is going to have a lot of play. Normally, I expect to see this team with things like Lantern of their own in the back, maybe a Skarmory, or maybe if it's the team that I've seen the last couple of days, it might just be like a Basti Azu backline, which might be why they're staying in. They might want to align their Basti here, either that or a Lantern in the back, and if it is anything in the back that doesn't just hard counter us like a Shadow Victory Bell, once this Dragonair is gone, 2-shield Lantern should have a lot of play this game. So Aerial Ace is coming through on CMP. At this point, I'm just kind of sacking my Mantine. There is the Bastiodon. They're staying in, guys. I think it might be an Azumarill in the back. I think our Lantern might just get the endgame sweep. Obviously, running Water Gun here is much better against this Basti. Look how much damage we've already done with fast moves. Since they're staying in, I feel like shielding this is likely the proper play, and I just want to make sure that Lantern is set up this time. If I need to throw energy against whatever is in the back, always have a little bit of energy to throw against whatever might come in, and now we can throw a Surf against this Basti. It might barely not be enough just because of how bulky Basti is, but I know for sure I can Water Gun down before another Stone Edge is going to come through. I get that move off, they swap, and there it is, guys, the Azu in the back. Fantastic to see, and with how much energy I have, knowing that I have a shield advantage, there is no way this Azu can get to 2 play roughs and knock us out. This Lantern is going to throw these Thunderbolts as much as possible. I mean, I even still have my Mantine in the back. If I really wanted to, I could just swap now, make them throw energy against that, but I'd rather just go for the guaranteed. I know that I easily can outpace them here to 2 Thunderbolts, get these moves off, and make sure I knock out the Azu, and then Water Gun down the Bastiodon to take the game with that 2-shield advantage Lantern in the backline. Thunderbolt is going to land, it's going to knock out the Azu, and in comes the Basti, 2 Water Guns, more than enough to knock it out. GG's to our opponent. Alright, next game, what are we going to see? Diggersby lead into a Shadow Alolan Ninetales. If this is Powder Snow, that's not very good for us, but if it's Charm, which it looks like it is, we actually have a lot of play in this matchup. Obviously, with Quick Attack, I have a decent amount of fast move pressure, and I also have Fire Punch. It's a super effective attack. It's going to do a lot of damage to them, and they do let the first one go. At this point, this A9 is really not that much of a threat for my team. Even though it does have super effective Weather Balls, as long as I shield this move, its fast moves, even though they are Charm, it's not going to do that much to me. I can overfarm here, make it so I get to back-to-back moves, and if something comes in that I need switch advantage against in the backline, I will have switched this game with our Lantern and our Mantine, which is a fantastic duo in the backline. We do get that move off. What is going to come in? In comes the Shadow Feraligatr. Alright, so the best thing about our Diggersby here, actually, is we resist these Ghost-type moves. They have to throw a Charge Sweep if they ever want to knock us out, and they also have to throw it very soon, or else I get to another Scorching Sands. We get yet another debuff here. Diggersby getting all the debuffs today, but they have to throw energy. They can never fast move us down, so they don't have a huge energy lead, and I can absorb all of this energy with our Mantine. If they stay in here and throw a debuff move, that is perfectly fine by me. Looks like they are going to do that. Is it going to be an Ice Beam? Is it going to be a Crunch? That is always the question with these Gators, and this time it is an Ice Beam. No potential chance at a debuff against us, and they are staying in here, so I'm going to throw the Aerial Ace, make sure I can get some energy against this. If they do let this go, then our Lantern in the back should be able to farm this down. If they shield it, then we're also perfectly fine. In comes a Clodsire. Luckily, we are running the Water Gun Lantern. We're not running the other moveset with the Spark. Spark honestly would be so bad against this. I love the neutral play that Water Gun provides, and we can get to the Surf before they get to a move. And I also know Lantern, it's pretty bulky, right? I think I actually survive an Earthquake, and I don't really want to shield a bait here. I'm going to no-shield this. I know Lantern is so bulky. We survived that, and we can still get to another Surf before they even get to another move here. Surf is going to come through. If they can Mudshot us down, that is totally fine by me. I know I really don't want them to, but I have a move loaded on our Mantine, and we have a shield left over, right? And I think at this point, we actually just Simul KO. That is probably the best case scenario. I take shield, I take switch. That Feraligatr in the back had no HP, and our Mantine was set up to win the backline. All right, our next opponent. Okay, I actually know this game. This opponent, I've played them many times. I know their team. It is going to be Vigoroth Double Fire. Normally, I would not stay in this lead matchup, but knowing that it's a Talonflame and a Skeledirge in the back, once I take care of this Vigoroth, there's nothing they can do against my Lantern. So I'm going to stay in here, I'm going to throw these Scorching Sands, and I'm going to do as much as I can against this Vigoroth as possible. Fun fact also about this matchup, Diggersby just wins the zeros. Like, even though I probably wouldn't want to stay in this matchup, it's not bad. It's actually a pretty good matchup here in the zeros at least. So we're going to be able to take these 2 moves, get to another Scorching Sands, and just knock them out here. If I see a Fire type come in, I'm just going to instantly swap out to my Lantern, start Water Gunning, and hopefully win this game with our Water Gun Lantern just sweeping everything in the back. In comes that Skeledirge, we swap for a Water Gun Lantern, and our opponent realizes, yeah, there's not much you can do. That's kind of the bad thing about playing at the top of the leaderboard. Sometimes you do play the same opponent a lot, basically every single day. I played probably like 5 or 6 of these opponents, and if you don't switch up your team a lot, then I'll know what team you're running, and hopefully I'll know how to play it, play it a little bit better than I would otherwise. So GG's to them, very, very bad backline. And in the next game, I didn't even talk about it yet, a Skarmory lead. They are going to go for a Brave Bird and Dip. I'm guessing there's water types in the back. In comes the first one here, the Shadow Swampert, not the most common Mudboy that you'd really be seeing here in the Open Great League. Honestly, Quagsire, Whiscash, they're more likely. So I'm assuming right now there's probably one of them in the back, right? Maybe something in the veins of a Whiscash or a Quagsire that is going to be able to sweep the backline if I don't be careful with our Mantine here. I actually ended up shielding a Sludge Wave, by the way. Sludge Wave would have done a lot of damage. I think I actually played this trainer before yesterday as well, and I noticed that they did have Sludge Wave on their Swampert. So the thing is, I know if it's going to be that double Mudboy team, keeping my Mantine alive is going to be so annoying for them. So I'm just going to double shield myself. I know at this point that's just a Hydro. I survived this easily, and I have so much energy here. I can start throwing against that Skarmory. I can even save my Mantine for the backline. We are almost at 100 energy. Going for this Air Release is going to do a lot of damage, basically knock them out at this range and make it so we have so much energy to go. If they come back in with that Skarm, I know that we have a good matchup in the backline against this, so I don't want to give them a huge farm down. I want to keep my Mantine alive, so I'm just going to hard swap to our Diggersby here. We have Fire Punches. We can get off 2 if they don't throw energy against us, and we do get the second one through. They haven't shown us the third, but I am very confident at this point it's either a Quagsire or a Whiscash as their final pick. They do shield that up, so they are going to have energy coming out of this matchup, but we have to keep in mind, we have a Lantern, right? Lantern is going to be able to resist any charge move this thing has. I guess if it was purified, they could have return, but we can see obviously they are not. Brave Bird is likely going to be thrown if they throw anything at us here, and they do throw a move. Brave Bird will chip us down into a range where maybe they can go for like some Mud Bombs with a Shadow Whiscash and knock us out in one, but it is a Whiscash, but non-Shadow. We survive a single Mud Bomb here, and they actually let us throw first. I think that's a bit of a mistake, because obviously the switch clock is almost back up. I can stall it here with this Surf, get them into a range also where our Mantine is in a fantastic position. I can probably go for 2 aces at this point, or maybe just a Water Pulse and knock them out. Scalds, they don't do that much damage. This is a non-Shadow Whiscash, and they don't get the debuff there. I go for this Air Release. It's going to do a lot of damage. Not quite knock them out, obviously. Not the best move in the game, but we do have another ace that we could throw, and I also know that I survive another Scald here. With that said, I don't want to put myself into fast move farm down range, just throw the move before they get theirs, and now that Skarmory is going to have to come back in, and I think that our Mantine can just close this game out, taking out the Swampert, the Whiscash, and the Skarmory. Alright, GG's to our opponent. What will we have in the next game? A Talonflame in the lead. One of the worst leads to see, just because we don't really have any charge move pressure here. I'm going to try to flip switch if I can, but in comes a Lickitung. Alright, so this isn't looking great, mainly because I've seen a lot of people have kind of a crazy team comp where you have Talonflame lead, Lickitung in the back, and then a Water Gun Lantern as the third Pokemon. Water Gun Lantern is a bit of a core breaker here for our Diggersby and for our Mantine, obviously. So if I can flip switch, that's not even going to be that impactful for us. I'm going to try to anyway. Hopefully it's like a Dragon type in the back. I know sometimes you have like a Dragonair or a Goodra as well, but if it was one of those things, I would have expected to see it here. Maybe it's a Whiscash as well. Whiscash might be somewhat playable, but a little bit awkward if I can't flip switch. So we'll just have to see what's going to happen. And we are going to shield up yet another move. We did shield up that first Power Whip properly. We shield up the second. And now we're going to try our best here to get this next Surf off. But the thing is, they have their next Power Whip right now. We go for the CMP. So at least they're not going to have residual energy. But I can't flip switch as long as they shield this move. Surf does end up getting shielded. Unfortunately, they are going to knock us out. If there is going to be that Lantern in the back, I know there is nothing we can do. At this point, we just have to come in with our Mantine, hope that they're not going to have something that's going to hard answer us in the backline, and see what we can do with our backline matchup. Mantine will come in. Hopefully, I can get the wing attack down before they get to a move. Looks like we just barely can. What is going to come in the back? It's that Lantern. Yeah, that's not much you can do about it. Normally, I don't keep games like that in the final video because that's just RPS, right? Not much you can do. But here, I'm showing every single battle that I had today just to show you guys, exactly what we're going to do and how these battles normally play out. We're just showing all of the sets. As I said, I went 13-2 today, so I guess you've already seen the 2 losses. Only wins from here on out, and we are going to get up into the 3300s as high as we possibly can. I haven't even talked about this matchup yet. The Whiscash lead, very awkward. What I ended up doing there, though, was I stayed in for a second. I was going to throw the Scorching Sands, but they did debuff us, so I was like, I guess now I kind of need to swap out. The Scorching Sands after debuff is going to do nothing to us, so I'm going to come into my Water Gun Lantern. Obviously not the best matchup, but I do need to swap out. I need to save my Diggersby just in case I need it for the backline, and hopefully we're going to have some play with our Diggersby and our Mantine in the back. They do throw yet another move here, but they are at back-to-back moves at this point. I don't think I can stay in. I have neutralized this Whiscash a little bit, and I know I have energy on my Diggersby. Is there any chance our Mantine's going to have play? There could be a Scar, maybe an Annihilate in the back, so Mantine might be our key player here to winning this game. If I can farm down this Whiscash, maybe there's a chance there's still some sort of win condition for us this match. They do come in, though, instantly with a Charizard. Alright, so I'm kind of regretting letting my Lantern go. I feel like if you come in Charizard here, that probably means one of two things. Either you have a Skarmory in the back, or you have a Talonflame in the back. Letting my Lantern go might have been a massive misplay. With that said, I still have energy on both my Mantine here and on my Diggersby. There might be some sliver of play if I can get some sort of energy lead here. And we go for this Fire Punch. They are going to get a knockout if they let this go. And I mean, this is just so awkward, right? In comes the Talonflame. If it was like a Skarm at this point, I'd have super effective damage. We only have resisted moves against this, though they do let through a Scorching Sands. Now I can start spamming out these quick attacks, these fire punches. These fire punches obviously doing a decent amount of damage to them. Well, not the fire punches, the quick attacks, sorry. Fire punch would do nothing, but I need to shield this up. I need to try my best here to go for a fire punch, get a shield. If I can get the next fire punch off and either get a shield or put them low, there might still be some sort of chance this game. They obviously went for a Flame Charge with the first move. I get New Mechanic, which means I get this move off. It's how the game's supposed to function, but normally it doesn't. But it makes up for like the one-turn lag I had at the start of the game there. So I get that move off, and in comes our Mantine, and they are throwing yet another move. It's a Flame Charge, though. I think that is a massive misplay by our opponent. Or maybe they are running Gravebird as their moveset. Flame Charge Gravebird would be a win condition for us this game. That means now they are actually 3 Incinerates away from their next move. There might be a chance. If they let this go, they don't. But we still get the farm down before they get a Scald. We have the Aerial Ace. They don't have a move loaded because they went for Flame Charge. And now we can knock out this Talonflame out of nowhere. Mantine coming in the backline and getting like yet another sweep this game. Mantine has been putting in so much work in the backline matchups. I'm so surprised by that. All right, our next opponent, what are we going to see? The Shadow Quagsire. Funny story, I was reading through the comments, guys. I see what you guys say. You're like, every video he uses the Shadow Quagsire. That's because it's so good, okay? It's such a safe Pokemon. I love to use it, but I'm good today. I didn't use it. I tried to make a different team. Obviously, Shadow Quagsire, though. Look, it has a lot of play into my team that I built. I have my Water Gun Lantern. I have my Diggersby here in the lead. Not exactly the best matchups for either one of them. Even Mantine has to watch out for the Stone Edge, right? And they actually threw a move. I think that was only on 5. This is a Mud Bomb, Quagsire. That is not the moveset that I recommend, but obviously it's putting in a lot of work against us here. I can shield this up as long as it's a Mud Bomb. I know I can farm him down. If it's an Aqua Tail, which I guess it is here, I am going to shield that up, and now I have to throw energy at this if I want to knock them out, but they have to shield this if they want to keep their Quagsire alive at this point. And what are they going to do? They do end up shielding that. Quagsire is so bulky, it's really annoying to try to take down, but we are in an interesting matchup. Why did they swap into Skarmory here? That's a really interesting question. Maybe there's a Gligar in the back, maybe there's something else like a Talonflame. I guess we'll just have to see at this point. But they do shield the bait, and now I know I survived this. Since they swapped this in, I'm going to just do everything I can to just win switch advantage this game. Sky Attack does come through. It's not going to do much to us, and we can throw this Thunderbolt now since we did get that successful bait with that Surf earlier on in this matchup. Thunderbolt comes through. It's going to either get the knockout, put them very low, and we do get the knockout. We get switch advantage this game somehow, and in comes our Mantine, and what is their third Pokemon going to be? I guess we'll never know. I'm thinking right now maybe like a Gligar, maybe a Talonflame. It could be one of those two, but I guess we'll never really know for sure. And the next game against a Cresselia lead. All right, well, this lead matchup is very annoying. We obviously are ADA weak to grass types, but what we do have here is our Diggersby. Diggersby is very bulky. We can survive 2 moves here. Try to chip this down as much as possible and put it into a range where maybe our Mantine or our Lantern in the back could have a little bit more play. You know, I said I'm ABA weak to this. Honestly, I'm kind of triple weak to Cress. I don't have a hard answer to this. Mantine does have play, but Mantine's not a hard answer to this. It's not like a Skarmory. It's not like a Mandibuzz. So we'll have to try to chip this down as much as possible. Unfortunately, no debuff in the lead matchup here, at least not on the first move. Can we get a debuff on the second attack? Also, if we were running Mud Shot, by the way, we actually keep up in pacing to these charge moves. Quick Attack, it does have a little bit more fast move pressure, but it means that we don't quite get the third move at the same time that they do. So they do outpace us here. They throw their attack, and what are we going to be able to do against this in the backline? Mantine can come back in here, hopefully have a bit of play, but in comes a Skeledirge. Man, so they hard swap out of their Cresselia here into a Skeledirge. Luckily, we are running Water Pulse, and I know either I'm going to get a shield or basically knock this thing all the way out. They do shield that move. If they throw a Shadow Ball, I survive it, and no, since I have so much like of an energy lead, I think at this point, I'm just going to let this go, get to another move, and then farm this down with our Lantern. Lantern at this point, once this Cresselia is so low, once we have shield advantage, it should have some play this game, right? Might be Double Fire, might be like anything else in the back. I honestly have no idea. We're going to farm this down, see what they are going to do. They throw a move here. Obviously, it could be a bait. It could be a nuke. I don't really want to take the risk that a Shadow Ball would land at this point, so we do shield it up, but a very nice bait by our opponent. I know I can get to the move before they get to a Shadow Ball. I don't want to shield this. I know they have some energy on that Cresselia, and if they do, I want to keep my Lantern alive, and I don't want to use shields quite yet here. And in comes their final Pokemon, a Shadow Quagsire. All right, you might be thinking this is probably one of the worst matchups I could see, but we have to keep in mind, we still have our Lantern alive with a shield, and we have Water Gun, and we have Mantine. We take out this Cresselia, obviously a decent catch. It wasn't really a catch, right? But they knew that I'd have to drain energy there, even if they don't get the catch off, so I do have to throw energy, waste it a little bit, and what are they going to do here? They go straight for the Stone Edge. Good call. If they would have got a bait off, that could be a little bit awkward, but luckily calling that move properly is going to make it so I have a lot more play here. Surf is going to land. It's going to get them very low. Water Guns are going to do a lot of damage. We are outside of Stone Edge range as well on our Lantern, and we actually get to an Aerial Ace right before they throw a move. They obviously needed a lot of energy this game. A little bit of a miscount. They probably could have Aqua Tailed here and maybe Stone Edge our Lantern, but I think either way, we could have just fast moved them down and taken that game. All right, our next opponent, what are they going to have? The Diggersby. Oh, well, okay, we were talking about how we are ABA to grass. Well, this is a much more grass type than Cresselia, right? This is a Venusaur. With that said, I think I actually prefer this matchup over that Cress because I have Quick Attack, I have Fire Punch, and I know Diggersby is bulky. I think I survive a Frenzy, and I think I get a Fire Punch off so that I can actually win the Zero Shield matchup. Once this Venusaur is gone, hopefully my Lantern's going to have play in the backline. We barely survive that, and we go for the Fire Punch. Wait a turn to make sure a catch does not happen on like a Lantern or anything crazy like that. And what are they going to do? Likely shield this move. They do. They win switch advantage this game, and Mantin can come in. It's not going to have a great time taking energy here, but I think I kind of just have to let this go. I'm going to leverage as much of an advantage as I can with our Lantern in this game. We are going to farm this all the way down right before they get to another Frenzy, and if they have something in the back that I want my Lantern against, which it looks like they do, I'm going to come in with my Lantern. I don't give them a farm down, and now we see their final Pokemon is going to be the Shadow Quagsire. We just saw this in the previous game. Shadow Quagsire obviously has a lot of play here into Lantern, and they shield up that first move. I don't know if that was a mistake or not. Honestly, now it means I can land a Thunderbolt. I don't have to bait against that Mantine, and now I know for sure, as long as I no-shield a move here, good call once again. I shielded the Stone Edge last game. I no-shielded the Aqua Tail this game. With that said, these Aqua Tails are going to come very quickly. They're going to start doing a lot of damage. This isn't over just yet, but it is going to be very helpful that I no-shielded that move. Yet another Aqua Tail coming through. I think I have to shield this at this point, though. These Aqua Tails are doing a lot of damage to me, or they would be if I let it go, and I need to stay outside of a range where an Aerialist or a Water Pulse or maybe an Ice Beam could knock us out. They are maybe going to be able to get to another move here. They survive that, and they do get to yet another attack. This is not great. If we are in Ace range after this Aqua Tail, then we will lose. I think we are just outside of Ace range. I think they have to go for a Water Pulse. They reach for it at the last second. They were at their 7th wing attack of energy right there, but we get this at literally the last second that we could. One-shot them with Thunderbolt, Water Gun down the Quagsire, and once again overcome such a terrible lead matchup. Alright, Diggersby, I guess these leads don't get any better into the Annihilate. Alright, so Annihilate, obviously a very bad matchup, but we have to keep in mind, normally they don't have close combat, they don't have Ice Punch, so as long as we avoid the fast move pressure, our Diggersby is actually a pretty decent energy sponge in that matchup. We're going to go for this Surf if it lands, and the Surf does land. Now it's going to be in Fire Punch range here. For some reason, they don't even throw energy against us, so as I said, Diggersby is going to be an energy sponge this game, I think. In comes the Powder, Snow, Alolan Sandslash. This is actually a little tricky for us. Our team is kind of triple weak to this. Diggersby obviously has Fire Punch, it has Ground type moves for the Steel types, but this thing has a lot of fast move pressure. At least our Lantern is our best matchup here, and they did switch it in willingly, so maybe we'll have some play this this matchup, and we do get this Surf off. It's going to do a lot of damage. It's probably going to knock them out at this point with how much damage I've done with Water Guns, and they do actually end up shielding that move. I think at this point, though, I can probably shield this move, and I'm going to try a very risky play here. I'm going to try to catch a Drill Run on our Mantine. If I get the catch off properly, I can save energy, I can save my whole Lantern as well. They're going to have to either throw a move against that to knock me out, or still do a lot of fast moves with their Ape, and I think at this point, we might have set up a potential win con. In comes the third Pokemon. It's a Feraligatr. That is not really a hard answer to our Mantine here. Honestly, that's not an answer in the slightest, especially down energy. And since I know that our Diggersby is so healthy, and I know that we can absorb all the energy there as long as they don't have close combat or Ice Punch, I think we might be able to win this game in the backline as long as we stay healthy here on our Mantine, at least healthy enough to knock out this Gator before they land a Hydro against our Diggersby. Go for yet another Aerial Ace. Doesn't quite knock them out here, but we are able to chip them down into a range where we can quick attack this down. We're only going to take like a Shadow Claw, maybe 2 on our Diggersby, and I think with our Lantern alive, with our Diggersby alive, we should have this game. We get a frame drop. We don't get a sneak through thanks to that awesome frame drop, but what move are they going to throw? Night Slash. Fantastic. We're in a great spot, but they boost. That is terrible to see. They have another Night Slash. After that boost, that's actually going to do a lot of damage, and these fast moves are going to do a lot of damage to us as well. And they are going to get yet another boost. They double boost. These counters are doing so much damage, but I wait a turn, I make sure they don't swap out. Fire Punch is coming through. This should get the knockout. We take them down here, and in comes that A-Slash. I see that we can have a swap here. We swap to Lantern, Water Gun them all the way down, and take the game there against that matchup. GG's to them. Very, very close endgame. Alright, next game against the Shadow Typhlosion lead. Not the most common lead, but obviously Diggersby is a ground type that has a lot of play there, but we have to keep in mind Fire is a neutral move, so if they happen to get shields down and land a Blast Burn, that's going to do a lot of damage to our Diggersby potentially later on. In comes the Azu. Alright, so what I know I can do here is as long as I get shields down, I don't really need switch advantage, right? We have our Mantine, obviously, that can Water Pulse that Typhlosion, and we have our Diggersby, which is just pretty strong into most things, especially up shields. So if they start double shielding, I think I just let my Lantern go this game, and hopefully rely on my Mantine actually to sweep this matchup. I think I've played this player also pretty recently the past couple of days. I think their third Pokemon is going to be a Cresselia. If that is the case, then we don't need switch, right? We don't have a hard answer to Cresselia. What we do have, though, is 2 Pokemon in the back back with 2 shields, and hopefully that's going to be enough to win us this game. They obviously have double shielded their Azu here. I'm going to keep energy just in case they come back in with that Typhlosion, but in comes the Cresselia here. So now we have the switch advantage that we want. We obviously can get our Diggersby against that Typhlosion, and we have our Mantine here in the best matchup that our team has against this Cresselia. Hopefully we get another Water Pulse off, and we do just barely at the last second. I think that these Cresselias, at least on teams like this, likely are running Future Sight, so if they do throw that move, it'll do a lot of damage, but it's not going to be in range where we're going to get fast moved down by anything, at least not quite yet. Future Sight does come through, it does a lot, but we can get to this Aerialist here right before they get their move. On CMP, hopefully, looks like that was. They went for the Grass Knot right when we went for this move. This is amazing. We get as much energy as we can off ourselves, and we drain them of all of their energy on their crest. They're not going to get another move. I can probably quick attack this down at this point, and I think Diggersby is in a prime spot to win this game. Just sweeping the backline, getting a quick attack down against that Cresselia, and just going for a Scorching Sands even before this Typhlosion can get to a single move. This will easily one-shot them, even though we're a bulky Pokemon. This thing is so squishy. Scorching Sands knocks them out. In comes the Azu. I know they have almost 100 energy here, but that is totally fine. I have almost 100% of my HP on my Diggersby. I can survive an Ice Beam at this point. I know they have Play Rough, so there's no Hydro Pump potential. It'll shield up this move. Ice Beam does come through, but we have this shield, and our Diggersby outbulks the Azu, and we would have gotten an endgame sweep with Diggersby if they would have let us there. GG Sam, honestly, this team put in so much work, and I think with that, that's going to be the end of the 5-0 set here to get us to a new season high. It gets us all the way up into the 3300s. It's a new season high for sure. Where is our final elo going to be? 3344. This is top 10 on the leaderboard here. It's a fantastic score to be at, but it is going to mean that my queue times are really going to suffer. All right, everyone, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I know it was a bit longer than normal, but it was a lot of fun to make, and I know also that you guys have been asking for showing a little bit more losses here. I did show both of my losses today. Obviously, we didn't have too many because we went 13-2, but it was a fun team to use, a very strong group of Pokemon, and I would recommend it if you're trying to climb. Also, I stream Pokemon Go PvP nearly every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, make sure to check me out there. Also going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. And thank you once again for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.